It's April 25th, 1935. Coogee Aquarium, Sydney, Australia. A Sunday. The kind of day families come out. Couples, children, people who want something to look at. And what they've come to look at is a tiger shark, 14 feet long, caught alive off the coast a week earlier and put on display in the aquarium's open-air pool. The shark has not been eating. It hasn't been moving much either. The staff have noticed something is wrong with the animal. Then, in front of the crowd, it convulses and it vomits. Into the water comes a length of rope, a bird, a rat, and a human arm, still tattooed, still intact, severed cleanly at the shoulder. Nobody in that crowd moved for a moment. Then everyone moved at once. The tiger shark, Galiocerdo cuvier, is one of the largest predatory sharks on Earth. Adults typically reach 10 to 14 feet in length and can weigh over 1,400 pounds. That's roughly the weight of a small car. They range across every warm ocean on the planet, from the Gulf of Mexico to the Indian Ocean to the coast of New South Wales. They are not the most famous shark. That title belongs to the great white. But among marine biologists, the tiger shark carries a different kind of reputation. Not for the attacks, not for the size, but for what it eats. The tiger shark is the most indiscriminate feeder in the ocean. That is not a casual description. It is a documented biological fact. Great white sharks are selective. They target marine mammals with high fat content, seals, sea lions, elephant seals, and they investigate before they commit. Bull sharks are opportunistic but territorial, tied to specific coastal environments. Most large predatory sharks, for all their reputation, operate within relatively narrow dietary windows. The tiger shark has no window. Its stomach has been found to contain sea turtles, dolphins, seabirds, stingrays, other sharks, fish, squid, crabs, lobsters, and carrion of every kind. It has also been found to contain license plates, a roll of chicken wire, a coil of copper wire, a bag of potatoes, a suit of armor, unexploded World War II naval ordnance, and at least one nearly intact horse. The leading explanation for this is a feeding strategy called dietary generalism, the biological equivalent of eating whatever the environment provides rather than specializing in one prey type. Tiger sharks have serrated, curved teeth designed to slice through shell, bone, and thick hide with equal efficiency. They have a digestive system capable of processing material that would destroy a human stomach. And crucially, they have the ability to evert, to turn their stomachs inside out and expel indigestible contents, which is what the shark at Coogee Aquarium did on that Sunday in April 1935. What came out of that animal set off a chain of events that took years to fully unravel. And what it revealed wasn't just about one dead man in Sydney. It was about what a tiger shark's stomach is, and what it can hold, and what happens when it eventually lets go. The arm that came out of the Coogee shark belonged to a man named James Smith. The identification took a few days. The tattoo was the key. 2 boxes squaring off, rendered in faded blue ink on the forearm. It was distinctive enough that investigators were able to match it to a man who had gone missing several weeks earlier. Smith was 45 years old, a former boxer turned billiard room operator with connections to Sydney's criminal underworld. The arm told investigators several things immediately. First, the cut at the shoulder was surgical, made with a knife, not a bite. A shark bite tears and shears. This was a clean, deliberate incision through the joint. Whoever put this arm in the ocean had removed it from a body first. Second, the arm had been in the water long enough for the shark to find it and consume it. But the shark had held it in its stomach intact, undigested, for at least 8 days. That last detail is the one that matters biologically. A tiger shark's stomach is not a processing chamber the way a human stomach is. It's closer to a holding container. Items too large or too indigestible to break down can remain there for days, sometimes longer, essentially preserved in gastric fluid. The shark didn't eat the arm so much as it stored it, which meant the arm was, for all practical purposes, in better condition than it would have been floating in the open ocean for 8 days. The shark had inadvertently preserved the evidence. The investigation that followed was one of the most complicated in Australian legal history. A man named Patrick Brady was eventually charged with Smith's murder. The case collapsed in court, partly because without the rest of the body, the prosecution couldn't prove a murder had occurred, only that an arm existed. Brady walked free. The case was never solved. But the shark had done something no detective could. It had retrieved a piece of evidence from wherever James Smith's body had been disposed of, carried it through the open ocean, and delivered it, alive, in front of witnesses, to a public aquarium in the middle of Sydney on a Sunday afternoon. What the Coogee case established for the first time in documented legal history was that a tiger shark's stomach could function as a crime scene. The question nobody was asking yet was how many times it already had. To understand why tiger sharks end up holding the things they hold, you have to understand how they find food in the first place. A tiger shark does not hunt the way a great white hunts. It does not stalk. It does not breach. It does not make a single, calculated strike. It cruises. Slowly, persistently, covering enormous distances at a pace that looks almost lazy, typically around 2 to 3 miles per hour, which is slightly slower than a human walking. They have been tracked traveling over 30 miles in a single day, and some tagged individuals have covered more than 1,200 miles in a month. That's roughly the distance from New York City to Miami, covered in 30 days, by an animal that doesn't look like it's in any particular hurry. What drives that movement is smell. Tiger sharks have an olfactory system of extraordinary sensitivity, capable of detecting blood or decaying organic matter at concentrations of roughly 1 part per million in the water. 1 part per million is the equivalent of a single drop of liquid dispersed through a tank the size of a standard shipping container. They don't just smell what's in front of them. They smell what was in front of them hours ago, following a chemical trail through open water the way a dog follows a scent across dry ground. When a tiger shark locates something, its approach is investigative rather than aggressive. It circles, it nudges. It uses a sensory organ along its flank called the lateral line, a row of pressure receptors that detect vibrations and water displacement, to assess whether the object is alive, dead, or somewhere in between. And then, most of the time, it bites. Not to kill, to sample. This is the behavior marine biologists call bite and release in other shark species. In tiger sharks, it's closer to bite and assess. They take in what's in front of them, hold it, and continue feeding if the object provides caloric return. If it doesn't, if what they've bitten into is a car tire or a sheet of corrugated metal, the stomach eversion response eventually expels it. But before that happens, the object may spend days inside the animal, traveling wherever the shark travels. That means a tiger shark swimming through a harbor where a crime has been committed or through waters where a body has been disposed of, or past a wreck site where human remains are present, may ingest material from that scene and carry it hundreds of miles before anything surfaces. It is a mobile evidence collection unit that operates on its own schedule, follows its own routes, and surfaces without warning. The Coogee case was the first time that process produced a courtroom. It was not the last. The shark arm case made headlines because it happened in public, because a crowd of Sunday visitors watched an animal eject a human limb into a pool. But the forensic record of tiger shark stomach contents extends well beyond 1935 Sydney, and most of it never made headlines at all. In the waters around Hawaii, where tiger sharks are among the most commonly encountered large predators, there are multiple documented instances of human remains recovered from shark stomachs, contributing to the identification of drowning victims and missing persons. The mechanism is the same as Coogee. The shark ingests remains from an open water scene and holds them intact long enough for investigators to recover something identifiable. In cases where a body has been in the water long enough for decomposition to make surface identification impossible, stomach contents from a captured shark have provided the only recoverable biological material. The International Shark Attack File, maintained by the Florida Museum of Natural History, includes case records where stomach content analysis was used to establish the species involved in a fatal attack. Not just to identify the victim, but to reconstruct the sequence of events. A tiger shark's bite pattern is distinctive. The serrated, coxcomb teeth leave a specific wound profile. In cases where victims were not recovered intact, forensic odontology applied to stomach contents has been used to confirm species involvement in legal proceedings. Beyond human remains, the stomach contents record of tiger sharks has surfaced evidence of illegal activity that would otherwise have been untraceable. In Australian waters, intact containers of industrial waste recovered from tiger shark stomachs have been used to identify illegal ocean dumping operations. Cases where material was disposed of at sea, specifically to avoid detection on land. The shark found it anyway. It found it the same way it finds everything: by covering ground, by following chemical gradients, by being, constitutionally, incapable of ignoring something that smells like it might be worth investigating. The suit of armor, the roll of chicken wire, the bag of potatoes. Those objects are curiosities. But they are curiosities that point to something consistent about this animal's relationship with the ocean it moves through. It is not selective about what it encounters. It does not distinguish between the edible and the inedible, the significant and the insignificant, the thing that will nourish it and the thing that will sit in its stomach for 2 weeks before being expelled on a Tuesday afternoon off the coast of nowhere. It takes in everything, and occasionally, what it takes in matters enormously. There are an estimated 100,000 tiger sharks alive in the world's oceans right now. That number carries a significant uncertainty range. Tiger sharks are difficult to census, ranging across open ocean and coastal zones across multiple continents, and survey methods vary widely. But the order of magnitude is consistent across available estimates. Each of those animals is doing what tiger sharks do: cruising, covering distance, following chemical trails through water that carries the residue of everything humans have put into it. Industrial runoff, pharmaceutical compounds, plastic degradation products, decomposing material from the estimated 8 million metric tons of plastic waste that enters the ocean every year. A weight roughly equivalent to a garbage truck's load being dumped into the sea every minute. The stomach contents of tiger sharks have become, in recent decades, a form of environmental monitoring. Published studies have used tiger shark diet analysis to track the presence of specific pollutants in ocean regions that are otherwise difficult to survey. The sharks go where monitoring buoys don't. They sample the water column continuously, without being programmed or deployed. A tiger shark, tagged off the coast of Florida and recovered off the Bahamas 6 weeks later, has sampled the water chemistry of every body of water it passed through. What that means is that the forensic utility of the tiger shark's stomach is not limited to criminal cases. It extends to everything the ocean absorbs. The 1935 Coogee case was about a human arm and a murder that was never solved. But the principle it demonstrated, that a tiger shark's stomach holds a record of what it has moved through, applies to the entire ocean, not just the parts where crimes happen. There is a 2018 study published in the journal Marine Pollution Bulletin, in which researchers analyzed the stomach contents of tiger sharks caught in the Gulf of Mexico. Among the contents were microplastics, synthetic fibers, and fragments of materials consistent with deep-sea drilling equipment. The sharks had been moving through areas of active offshore extraction. Their stomachs documented it. The Coogee shark was dead by the time the trial collapsed. It had been kept in the aquarium pool for 11 days after the aversion event and euthanized when it became clear it wasn't going to survive in captivity. The arm it produced was the only piece of evidence the prosecution had. When that evidence proved legally insufficient, the case ended. But the shark had done something that no investigator could have done independently. It had been present at a scene no human knew was a scene, recovered material from it, and transported that material across open water to a place where it could be found. It had no awareness of any of this. It was following the same chemical gradient it followed every other day of its life. The outcome was forensic. The intention was lunch. Go back to Coogee Aquarium, April 25, 1935. The crowd that watched a 14-foot tiger shark convulse and produce a human arm. What they were watching, what none of them had any framework to understand at the time, was an animal doing something it had been doing for millions of years. The tiger shark's lineage extends back roughly 35 million years. For all of that time, it has been moving through the ocean, ingesting whatever it encountered, holding it, and eventually releasing it. Long before there were humans in the ocean to put things there, long before there were courts or evidence standards or forensic odontologists. The stomach of the tiger shark is not a forensic instrument. It was never designed to be one. It is a consequence of a feeding strategy so broad, so indiscriminate, so constitutionally incapable of passing anything by, that it inevitably captures human history when human history ends up in the water. James Smith's arm ended up in the water because someone put it there. The shark found it because the shark finds everything. The aquarium crowd saw it because the shark had been in captivity for 8 days and its digestive system was under stress. Every variable in that chain is a coincidence. The shark was just doing what tiger sharks do. That's what makes the record so disorienting. It's not curated, it's not selective. The tiger shark's stomach contains evidence of crimes, evidence of accidents, evidence of industrial dumping, evidence of pollution, and evidence of nothing at all, whatever happened to be in the water at the moment the shark passed through. The arm in 1935 Sydney mattered because there was a crowd to see it. The 1,000 other things swallowed by tiger sharks that year, and every year since, mostly didn't. The ocean is not a crime scene, but occasionally a tiger shark makes it one. There are tiger sharks moving through the ocean right now, off the coast of Hawaii, in the Gulf of Mexico, along the eastern seaboard of Australia, in the warm shallows of the Indian Ocean. Each one is following a chemical trail through water that carries the residue of everything that has ever been put into it. What they're carrying in their stomachs at this moment is unknown. Most of it will never be examined by anyone. It will be digested or expelled somewhere offshore, or go down with the animal when it eventually dies and sinks. The record it represents of where the shark has been, what the water contained, what the ocean has absorbed, will dissolve into the sea floor without ever surfacing. The Coogee shark surfaced its contents in front of witnesses. That was an accident of captivity, of stress, of timing. In the wild, tiger sharks expel indigestible material in open water, far from shore, far from anyone who might find what comes out. James Smith's murder was never solved. The man who likely killed him died before the trial concluded. The arm that the shark produced, the only physical evidence of what happened to James Smith, was buried after the inquest and has not been examined since. The shark that carried it is long dead. But somewhere in the ocean right now, another tiger shark is cruising through water that has a story in it, following a scent, closing in on something. And whatever it finds, it will take in. It will hold it. It will carry it through open water for days or weeks, covering distances that no investigator could trace. And eventually, maybe, it will let go. The question is whether anyone will be there when it does.